Yeah, so I'm going to read some poems now. I haven't done this very often. I have done it somewhat in the past. When I've done it, I sometimes will read something once, then maybe a slightly a different way, and then maybe if the poem lends itself to this kind of activity, I'll read it a third way, in different ways to maybe bring out different aspects. Down the long hallway of a telescope, my howling eye. So I don't necessarily quite know what that means. It just seems right. So, you know, one sense that I have about poetry is that it's almost best to, like, you know, disengage to somewhat the left brain and just let the right brain grab onto something and do what it wants to. You know, the left brain can come in later and analyze it a bit. But when you're hearing it, it's almost best to say, I'm not going to know what this means. And if you do that, you know, my sense is that you'll know what it means. Almost asleep, my possessions sneaking off. One creaky stare, on my shoulder the faint imprint of her ear. October, the red shift you were buried in. So this poem is a poem that I think, well, I know I took the title of this book, Sunrise, from. And it's a poem that, for me, it has that quality that I like to find in things that I've written, or that I think that I find sometimes in what others have written. That I don't know why it feels right, even if I don't know why it's right. I cannot, you know, I cannot say why it is right. But this, I think this poem has that quality to it. Sunrise darkens the face I dream with. So that was written all in one line, which means, in a sense, well, I want to say that it means that it could be read different ways. It could be read as sunrise darkens the face I dream with. Fire, all at once, I never had a future. Fire all at once, I never had a future. I like that sense of somehow past and future and present just colliding and getting all jumbled up with that. And I don't know, maybe I've got some notion that fire is all those things, that fire is the past and the present and the future all at once, all one combustion. So this poem, I don't know quite why I feel compelled to read it, except that this one was actually written maybe 1991. It was the one poem that I included from that long ago. But it's a fairly vivid one, so I'll include it. See if I can remember it. Start of day, the butcher's white apron. Start of day, the butcher's white apron. So this is maybe a poem where I feel that the sound the sound carries a great deal of meaning. So that if it's just heard, that how the sound is taken in by the body is where the meaning will reside, in a sense, even though it to some way of looking to one way of looking at it, it will appear rather clever. But I feel on this level of sound, it's not clever. It's merely, it has an embodiment. People can judge for themselves. Dicing them should sound precisely like snake's eyes. A one-line poem. Dicing them should sound precisely like snake's eyes. Dicing them should sound precisely like snake size. An unseen bird sings, the dew is red, is green, is blue. Okay, so here's another poem that certainly where sound is very important and carries a lot of meaning. And it's funny, when I was thinking about this poem recently, anticipating the possibility of reciting it, I actually, maybe somewhat perversely, wanted to make some change. So maybe I'll read it with the change, just for the sake of it. But the poem that some people may be familiar with, it goes like this. Mosquito, she too, insisting she is. Well, then I thought, and I wanted to sort of keep to 17 syllables, somewhat perversely for someone who claims not to really write haiku, but I do like 17 syllables. So let's see if I can remember how I had revised it. This mosquito, she too is insisting she is. So it still carries a lot of that is sound. This mosquito, she too is insisting she is. So this is a poem that Peggy Lyles seemed to like quite a bit. She spoke of it, and I believe that it appeared in The Heron's Nest, actually. So, perhaps to honor her, I will read it. And it's, I think a lot of people would consider it a traditional haiku. It's got the seasonal reference and so forth. Stones in the root mass of a fallen tree, winter stars. A case of bird skulls, my ears torn by such little scissors. So this is one that I can't remember the context, but I actually brought it up with my wife recently. There was some context about it. I think it was a difference between my wife and me, that I have a sort of a proclivity to kind of stay in seed form, and to stay in seed form and not be a little bit reluctant to emerge, in a sense. Like I almost feel like, like to emerge too soon is that kind of precocity, is that the right word? To be that precocious somehow will affect one's development, whereas my wife she's eager to bloom right away. She wants to get right out there and bloom, and she really gets into things. So anyway, I mentioned this poem to her, and this is one that could be read in different ways. In a seed, I don't know the answer. So I read that one rather neutrally. If I was to tease it apart a little bit, it could be, in a seed, I don't know the answer. In a seed, I don't know the answer. In a seed, I don't know the answer.